Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Welcome back to another exciting episode to the show that really doesn't know how old the Roman Coliseum really is. The Audience of One show right here on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5, as well as irlonestar.com and wherever you get your podcasts from. I am Andrew, alongside the man who claims he has never, ever licked a 9-volt battery, Dick S.
True.
Preston Esquire Schisler.
I've licked a lot of things,
But not a 9-volt
battery. I stuck my finger in a lot of things, but not a 9-volt battery.
Wall sockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else have you put your fingers in?
I mean, there was. I remember one time I'm spending time with
ear.
my electrician buddy, and he's like, "Are you an idiot?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You don't touch that." I'm like, "Touch this," and it got me, and I fell to my knee. I was like, "Oh!" And he's like, "I wasn't trying to tell you as a joke." I'm like, "You were gonna touch that. I didn't want you to do that."
And you did it.
and I did it.
That's so Dick.
So, it really is me, because I'm like, "Oh, you mean this thing right here?" And then it's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." And I guess I'm used to growing up with brothers who do that kind of stuff. Like,
Right,
"Hey, don't
yeah.
touch that." "Oh, I'm
Right.
just kidding. But no, he was not kidding. He was like, "Do not touch this." I'm like, "Oh, this." But yeah, welcome to Audience of One. I've noticed you have been active on the local I Love Conroe. So
Absolutely.
if there's
Promoting
a
the show.
listener from there, well, you want to say hi, you can always send us some fun stuff at audienceofoneshow@gmail.com.
Yeah, in fact, I think in the second half of the show, I have some listener content I'd like to share. So
Okay,
we'll
good.
do that in
So
the second
we'll
half.
do that. And,
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a good weekend and everything?
I did. I
Yeah?
did. I actually went to a gender reveal party. Those are always fun. I'd never actually... No, I have been to one other years ago, but this one was one of those... we don't know the sex of the baby. The parents didn't know the sex of the baby either.
Yeah.
Right, so it was just a surprise for everybody. I think there was one person, the sister of the soon-to-be mother, who knew. And they went and got golf balls, right?
Oh, and they hit him?
Yeah, and whatever color the golf ball exploded
That's
into
cool.
was the gender of the baby. Obviously, blue for boy and pink for a girl. So
See, I always
that was pretty
thought
cool.
a great gender reveal party idea would be, it's like a gambling thing. And you come to the party and you're like, "Hey, it's $10.
Oh, yeah.
You pick girl or boy."
Sure.
And if whoever wins, if it's a boy, that money goes to the boy. And the girl one gets split. Or sorry, I take a step back. If they bet like a boy, right? They bet the boy.
Okay.
And if it's a boy, whoever bet boy, they split the pot.
Okay. I think I understand.
Yeah.
Basically, are you giving the money to the parents?
No, it's kind of
Okay, so okay, I thought this
No.
was a charity thing. No, you're talking about actually gambling.
Yeah,
for your own personal gain.
Because honestly, no one really knows unless that one person. Because
Sure,
I've been
yeah.
to a couple, and I'm like, it's kind of neat being part of something.
Yeah.
Because how silly.
But it's only 50-50, so it's not like you're going to get that much money
I know,
when you
but
split it half.
but it's silly.
half and half.
I know gender reveal parties are silly, but it's what I'm talking about is the unique experience of being in a room with a bunch of people who have no idea.
Yeah,
About something.
yeah.
And you're like, I wonder what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's
Like,
kinda
do
cool.
you wonder what it's going to be?
Yeah.
So you got to make some
And
money.
I didn't really have a feeling either way.
Or you can say the house gets some of it, meaning the parents.
I think
for the kid.
I think all of it should probably go to the parents.
No, I think it'd be hilarious. Like that means you invite more people. Let me ask you this: at the gender reveal party, do you
Sure.
bring presents?
Not at this one. No, there were no presents. I think that's the baby shower.
Yeah, so
right.
this is
And I
just-
learned something new. If it's a second child, it's not called a shower. It's called a sprinkle, because they already have a lot of things from their previous child. So you don't shower them with gifts. You sprinkle them with gifts.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever.
But I've been to a couple, and I'm always like, you could turn this into a fun gambling game.
I like how you can turn everything into like some sort of way to get ill-gotten gains. I love it.
Well, I mean, what else are you gonna do there? Like that. That's the one thing I always laugh about those kind of things. It's like this whole thing takes 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like, are we?
So
doing
did the first process
so
too.
we
Probably.
can
Just saying.
we can just build it up. Be like, welcome to tonight's show, boys and girls. Like, put your bets in, and so like, we're gonna do the winner at.
So this is you promoting your gender reveal. I guess new business, your side business.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that'd be so funny.
Dick.
And
wait. It probably shouldn't be
No,
called.
what's even great-
It probably shouldn't be called Dick's gender reveal though. Let's think about changing.
Think
that.
about this. You don't even have to be at the party, so you can get a lot of money.
Oh, you're talking about doing it virtually online?
You can just do
everything,
it online.
Run squares online,
And then you can
that'd be
live
great.
stream it.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, of
everyone's
course.
doing it. Everyone's taking pictures and stuff anyway with that stupid stuff. So it's like,
Why not?
why not? And like, go online, click blue or pink.
There you go.
Put $10 in. Oh man, that'd be so cool.
Bet $10 to get back $12.50. Hey, why not?
Yeah, you never know. Well, now I told you about that gambling channel I saw.
Actually, I guess it'd be $15. You would get $15 back.
I told-
if you're splitting it.
Well, I don't know. It depends on people put in, and then
But it's still going to be well. It depends on who the split. I'm assuming a 50-50 split on boy or girl.
and
You're
then
right.
everyone
Never mind.
understands the house gets some of it.
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
But yeah, I told you about that gambling TV show I found.
No,
So,
please do.
we're-
Oh, yes. Talk about the horse racing.
Yeah, the FanDuel.
Yeah. Of course.
I was, and they're doing the reports like, oh, if you put $1 in, you get $1.20. I'm like, man, you got some gambling problems. You just
I got to get my 20
you
cents.
get my 20 cents, man.
Typically, though, people aren't betting $1. They're
Well, I
betting
know.
thousands.
I was
so,
just
but
funny.
yeah.
It was just funny to me, like the way because I guess they don't want to say too much. It's like, oh yeah, here's the ratio we pay out. It's
Yeah,
like,
they always put it in like simple terms.
Yeah.
$1.
and but yeah, my weekend was cool. I kind of want to reflect back on the last show. We were talking about the breakup I had, and now we're talking about AI.
Yeah.
And now all I get on Facebook and Instagram and all those things are like, I don't know, motivational relationship memes. And some are pretty funny.
Did your wife leave you? This
Stuff like
not
that.
the next
and
Dr. Phil show.
what's so crazy to me, and I still don't, I
How to
wish,
cope with a loss.
well, somebody needs to explain this if they know more about the tech. I did not look any of this stuff up. Like if you go to my search, even the stuff that's in like the auto, like Discover, I'm like, I don't want anyone to see this because it's like, women and comedy. And I'm like, I never look this stuff up. I never look things up like on social media. If I want to look up that stuff, I'll go to Google.
Right. And you're not doing it through
But if it's
Insta.
all connected, let me know. Because I'm sitting there freaking out about, I'm like, man, maybe, am I talking about this stuff too much? Like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah, it reminds me. I heard about this study. This was done probably a year or so ago by a man. I don't have the information in front of me, but he actually bought a new phone, brand new, out of the box, and was going to test that theory of whether or not your phone is listening to you. Because I think everybody has had that experience where all of a sudden your phone is, you're presented with an advertisement for a car or something that you were talking about a week ago, and you're like,
Yeah.
that is really weird. Well, they tested that theory out and set the phone on the coffee table and had conversations to see if it was going to. You're holding your phone up now,
Yeah, I want to make sure.
and basically it revealed that the phone was not listening to them because it never presented them with anything they were.
And that's
referring
what.
to,
And
so.
I haven't really. I promise.
But that was just
you,
one independent study.
I
and-
never looked up anything. I've never, because it's happened before. Where like I remember when we first got a dog, we were getting a lot of dog food ads.
It's like, how does it know?
But it's not necessarily how does it know. It's more of, is everything really that interconnected?
Man, I think it is. It knows if you go to a Petco, it knows your location, and if you're using Apple Pay or something,
But
it
see,
knows.
this is
I mean, it's-
different. This is
algorithm,
the
man.
ads I get.
Yeah.
Because that's like, there's special things on social media that says this is a sponsored
Yeah.
deal.
Sure.
That's not what I'm getting. I'm getting like people's testimonials and like actual, I would call it profiles. That's all they put out are these motivational stuff. And that's all I'm getting. And
You are special.
it's
You can do
it
it.
is. Some of them are really funny because I sent you one.
You're
I think,
handsome.
I think-
You're good enough for someone.
Yeah, I think it happened because I sent you a funny one that I thought
Yeah.
was really good. And I was like, oh, great. Now I've signed
That's
on.
probably what happened. Yep.
I've signed on, and now that's all I'm going to get.
For the next
So,
6-7 months, probably.
And I'm telling everyone else out there, I go, if you see my feed, don't take away the steak knives. I'm okay. And I had to tell my friend that because I sent him that, and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, I just sent you a funny, like,
Yeah, it's okay. I promise. I'm
yeah,
okay.
it's pretty funny. But yes, I'm glad you had a good weekend, and
Yeah, no
everyone's cool.
Yeah, everyone's cool. Do we got to talk a little bit about this writer-actor strike at all? You know anything about it?
I think
It seems like it's dominating the news. That's the one
Well,
problem with having a weekly show is by the time we bring something up, everyone's already heard about it. But
who cares?
it's pretty interesting.
What thing I did love was everyone's talking about this Oppenheimer Barbie premiere date. And I think it's literally this week.
Oppenheimer Barbie?
Yeah, like they're opening on the same day.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
they're doing all these weird promotions at
Okay.
like Alamo Draft House. You can, if you see both those movies within 3 days, you're entered to win something.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And they're like polar opposite movies, I guess.
Yeah,
but
they kinda
somehow
are.
it's funny. I don't really know. But when I saw the strike, the only real reason I kind of understood it was they were saying, "Oh, they left the premiere in Scotland because of the strike happened." So they left the premiere.
Yeah, during the middle of a show, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, like, there's that poor soul who worked so hard on that movie.
Can we all be in solidarity in about 42 minutes and 37 seconds,
I want
please?
someone to see this movie. And then I'm in a movie group of a bunch of people who I don't really know. I know a couple of them because I love watching stupid movies. That's my contribution to the group. They love the serious movies. I love like, hey, Expendables 4 is coming out. It's got 50 Cent in it. Like, I'm really excited about stupid stuff like that.
Sure.
And this one guy legit goes, I talked to my WGA buddy, like, we can still see movies even though we can still support the strike, but we can still see these movies.
Okay.
And I'm like, is that like a genuine thing?
Yeah. Are you joking?
Yeah, I didn't want to call him out because I think he was serious. And I go, that's the ironic thing about this strike.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, don't put us out of business. Go see these movies because these movies are still going to come out.
Sure.
But support us, and we're not making any more.
Right.
And I'm like,
Right.
maybe what they should have done is gone on strike during COVID.
It would have been a little smarter.
It would have been a bit of
Now, typically, I don't care necessarily about the writers and actors strike per se. I know there have been strikes in the past, and it really doesn't affect me all that much because I don't watch a lot of TV.
Something's going on.
But this one's a little different, and this one kind of has my attention because it does have a little bit more to do with tech.
Because I know AI is a big deal with all of it. And I'm thinking to myself, I go, are producers or the big production companies that stupid to be like, hey, let's get AI to write and do all this stuff so we can cut out like 25% of our costs?
It's not even just that. It's using the actor's likeness. So what I've heard is some of these, because a lot of times these actors, yes, they're very wealthy, and we should feel no sorrow for them or shame for them.
Put in the work.
But there's a lot of people that aren't.
Who cares
There's a
if
lot
they're
of people,
wealthy? They put in the work.
Well, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes that aren't, right? That are really affected by some of this stuff. And what I'm hearing is some of these actors will go in for a job, and they will be asked to sign away their likeness as well. So basically, when you get a job, it's a one and done, and they're going to be able to use your likeness and regenerate you as AI later on down the road. And these people necessarily aren't, big time, high paid actors. And they're going, wow, this is crazy. So it's not past the realm of possibility to see how this could be done in other industries beyond just acting, So it's kind of, of course, there is the money thing, the monetary thing with the streaming, and they're going to try and figure that out, whatever. But it is kind of interesting this time when you have AI and technology involved. It's kind of,
there's something going on clearly, but
yeah,
I don't really know how distribution really works for the AI. Like if that's really what because it sounds like a different strategy. It's not like they want more money. It's like they're preventing them from putting them out of a job. Like you cannot do these AI things because
right.
We know
so on one side, it's they're trying to get the residuals from
the streams.
From streams, it's not on the same level as traditional means, right? So there is the monetary aspect to it, but then on the other side, it's not only just money. It's AI could be taking our jobs altogether,
well,
And so there's something to be said for that.
This, and this is for the onesies too. So, my concept of residuals is if we make a movie or a TV show or whatever, and it gets distributed on the intended platform, but then it runs its course, and it's like, oh, hey, Netflix wants to stream it, kind of like Star Trek, because I'm a huge Star Trek guy, and it was on Netflix, so clearly Netflix paid the makers of the show, hey, but back in the day with TV, wasn't it the same way? Like when TBS would run like Friends or whatever, from what I understood, they were making residuals off that. Like Seinfeld, that's like one of the biggest thing about Seinfeld. He's getting that mail check still.
Well, again, I'm not.
So are they saying streaming like, oh,
he gets a fraction of it, apparently.
Oh, it's a technicality. We didn't say streaming in the contract.
I'm not that versed in it. I just know that the percentages that some of these guys are getting for streaming residuals is a fraction of what they would get from regular TV.
Okay. All right.
And I don't know if that's the same for TV shows that were produced for TV and then started streaming. I think it's more about streaming shows and streaming movies that were made specifically for platforms like Netflix and things. I think. that it's just
No, I think those. I imagine those things you just get paid.
Yeah.
But if it appears,
maybe not.
Well, no, because it's kind of like if it performs outside the intended use, meaning like if I made Star Wars and it's meant for a movie, we hired you to be an actor in a movie called Star Wars. Mm-hmm. It's going into the theaters. Now people can negotiate. Hey, can I get VHS, residuals, and they can negotiate that because I think that's kind of like the urban myth with Alec Guinness, where he didn't want to do the show to be Obi-Wan, but then they convinced him. We're like, hey, we'll give you 1%.
He's like, okay, I'll do it.
And he was like, okay, and he made a boatload of money.
A ton of money.
But I don't know if that's an urban myth, but whatever. So yeah,
there's a lot of tentacles to this.
I don't really
I think are interesting.
It.
Yeah, I don't know either. But the whole fact that there's AI involved to me, it's like, ooh, that's interesting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't really know the concept of AI.
Well, we got robots taking our waiters' jobs.
Well, just to let everyone know, AI is now my therapist. So that clearly,
there you go.
It's helping me.
That's right. Well, we had a few AI stories we were going to cover last week, but since you bring that up, I guess I can bring up a few of these stories. One of them is really, really funny. This was about a lawyer that apologized. Oh, yeah. Apologized. Starting the show. Zip up onesies, although I have been told that onesies don't necessarily have zippers.
Oh, button up?
They have buttons.
Okay, button up.
Button up onesies.
All right, fair enough.
All right, a lawyer has recently apologized for making fake court citations from ChatGPT. Now, this is really funny because, when you're a lawyer and you go to court, oftentimes you have to prove your case by using other court cases for precedent, right? Well, this one guy, his name is Roberto Matea. He sued Alvanca Airlines for injuries he says he sustained from a serving cart while on the airline in 2019.
Like his elbow or something?
Probably so. His lawyer, Stephen Schwartz, decided, you know what? I'm going to go to ChatGPT and look up some of these previous court cases to cite in my proceedings, right? The problem is ChatGPT made all of them up, and he's in court citing all of these other court cases of similar incidences, right? And the jury's looking around, and the judge is kind of doing some research. The judge comes back and says, Mr. Schwartz, we can't find any evidence of these court cases actually existing. He's like, what? And of course, he has to admit that he found them on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But the funny part is, he goes back to ChatGPT and asks it, are these court cases real? And what do you think ChatGPT has to say?
What is real?
Of course these are real. I wouldn't make these up. So then he goes back and he says they're real. Oh my God. So now this is a case of ChatGPT or AI learning to lie, basically.
Or he just, they misinterpreted the court cases. They might be real.
True too. I don't know. There's
a lot of court cases out there.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of went along the lines with what we were just talking about there. So.
Well, no, as I'm saying, AI, I still haven't. I thought I knew what it was, but now all these examples, I'm like, it could be anything.
It could be anything. Yeah, it's mutating.
It's
mutating. Well, it could be anything. It could also be a church service. So there was a church service that was generated by ChatGPT a few weeks ago.
That's just laziness.
Yeah, right? Well, it was attended by hundreds of people, and that kind of surprises me because, to me, if you're a religious person going to a church
advertised
service,
okay.
They say, hey, we're going to have this church service, and it's going to be presented completely by ChatGPT.
And he's like, all of a sudden, he's like, and I am the 13th apostle.
That would be awesome.
That was
right.
And just start going to town on all the lies of the book of Jesus.
No, shut down. Pull the plug. No, it's pretty interesting because if you're a religious person, you're going to attend a church service. Don't you want to hear this from another human being that has, a soul, right? Instead of a robot talking about religion. But I think apparently it was a test, and it was highly successful.
And
oh my God,
that's another thing that's really scary to me about the way the internet really communicates with people because of how smart people are and how they can manipulate the tech to move something. So, like, I was reading about this politician doing something in like a local. I don't know if it was like it wasn't like a national level. It was like a state level, and they switched parties, and they released all these emails that people were sending him about switching parties, and it was very hateful stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, that's terrible that happened, but when I see stuff like this, how do you know it's from real people?
Right.
Because they were using, I'm talking terrible language.
Ooh.
About race, about, the education level. Like, they were going, it was low blows every email they were showing. And I was like, you know what? I feel weird for saying this because it's terrible that it happened. But how do you know those are real? Because it's all generated through email. So it's like someone could set up a script and just say like, hey, email this person every 15 minutes and say these terrible things.
Well, you remember we had a while back a story about a young college student, maybe from Harvard or Princeton, one of those fancy schools, that had written an AI detector, right?
Yeah.
So that basically students, when they submit their papers, the teachers run it through AI detectors to be able to find out.
It wasn't like ironic that like the detector itself was written by AI and he got detected that he wrote it by AI?
No, I don't know that part.
I just made that up.
Okay, I was going to say, that doesn't even make sense. It's like Inception.
Yeah, I like it. But no, those kind of scenarios.
Well, couldn't they just run it
scare
through
me.
one of those machines, though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't really know because it wasn't like there were. I don't know if there was any actual threats in them, but it's basically calling this person names and like a traitor. Mm-hmm. So it was just a bunch of emotional emails, and I don't know. Again, they might not be real. It might be just used for political gain. I don't know, or it might be real. And there's some terrible people living in that state. But there's terrible people everywhere. But that's the only thing that really bugs me about that kind of stuff. When you hear like the online, especially how like the way journalism's going, they don't really quote anybody really more. It's like, oh, there's another source, but this source, it's like, how do we like? Does Wikipedia start writing itself now? I bet there's AI writing Wikipedia articles right now, and everybody for some reason thinks Wikipedia
it's true. Absolutely. Let me wiki this real quick.
Yeah, and that's the scary part to me about that kind of stuff.
One of the byproducts of that software that I was just telling you about that detects whether or not something is AI generated, apparently there's a terrible side effect of these programs that students who have like English as a second language are apparently having their their papers flagged at a disturbingly high rate as being artificially intelligence written by ChatGPT.
Sound like
or something.
A computer. Oh,
yeah,
man.
how
that
bad,
is so funny.
How bad is that?
That's funny though.
It's funny, but it's like, no, I promise I wrote this, but my English is just bad, and it sounds like a computer wrote it. Yeah, so they're going to have to somehow.
That's going to be the new. What's it? The new term to that'll get banned is like you sound like a computer. And people will be like, I can't believe you say that about him. But
so this is from Popular Science. A Stanford University team led by senior author James Zhao, an assistant professor of biomedical data science, as well as computer science, blah, 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 recently amassed 91 non-native English speakers' essays written for a popular test of English and ran it through one of these tests. They fed the essays through, and it came back with a very high percentage of positivity for AI generation. I wish it said the percentage here, but it didn't, which that's going to be a problem. So these guys are already probably challenged with learning a new language, and now they're getting slammed with their papers being claimed as artificially generated. Again, what could go wrong with all...
It's a wild world out there, man.
It is a wild world. Man, I think you and I talked about this a little bit. Maybe I'm losing track of time. I really am. After we've done the show for so long, I forget. I always say a few episodes ago, but it probably could have been.
And I still haven't met your wife.
Well, there's a reason I keep you away from most of the people I know.
I've learned that people don't like me. Point in case, I'm single.
Yes, you mention that every episode you get now. This is
this is the way I cope. All right. This is the way I cope.
Would you stop using Audience of One as your springboard for like your own dating site? Come on, man.
You can reach us at Audience of One Show. Just make sure you're not
please.
sending it to Andrew. When you in the subject line, say this is for Dick. So if you're looking for fun, Audience of One Show gmail.com.
If you're looking for Dick, make sure that you
say you
go
looking
to Audience
for me.
of One Show at gmail.com. Right. Man, I don't even remember what I was going to talk about now. Oh, yeah, so I think we talked about this before. Again, I say a few weeks ago. Who knows how long ago it was. About the summer of 1998 in baseball and how that really, at least it brought me back into liking baseball. I was
Barry Bonds?
Yeah, the whole home run race with Barry Bonds. That wasn't Barry Bonds. It was Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
And at that time, before that, I was not really interested in baseball at all. No. And I was, I guess, sophomore, junior in college in 1998 when that started, that home run race started. And it drew me in to baseball like nothing ever had before. And I actually went to a few Astros games at the time, saw Sammy Sosa, saw Mark McGwire, blah, 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 right? It was awesome. And then, of course, a few years later, it turned out they were all jacked up on steroids, right? and that's the reason they were hitting all those.
Or allegedly, right? They were never. Who was proven?
Well,
because I think like Barry Bonds was not found guilty or proven that he did steroids. But I think Mark McGwire admitted it.
yeah, I mean,
And I think Sammy Sosa admitted it.
yeah,
But I think Barry Bonds never admitted it.
right. Why would you?
I don't. I mean, it's not like they're going to come after your money.
Well, right now they can't at that point. But it started that big debate of whether or not we should just allow the athletes to juice, right? I mean,
Well,
it
that's
seemed
one
like
thing.
it was one of these things like, well, if the product on the field is better and everybody's enjoying it, why don't you just let them juice, right? That seemed to be one of the big conversation or talking points soon after that season. And of course, the problem is you can't have everybody juicing or can't have some people juicing because it's not a level playing field for everyone. You know, that you want to keep the integrity of the sport, blah, 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 right? Well, there's an Australian businessman who's saying, what if performance-enhancing drug problems and prohibition, just didn't exist? And he is proposing the Enhanced Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. So this guy, his name is Aaron D'Souza. I'm not sure where he's from. Anyways, he is proposing a competition in 2024.
You know how scared people would be to like apply to be in it.
Right.
Well, see what bothers me about that kind of stuff, and it'll work itself out. Like, cause like I remember the Sammy Sosa stuff. I remember all that stuff, and especially with like Roger Clemens.
Yeah.
And XYZ, and they're not eligible. They won't be allowed in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look up the records, they still say them for records. Meaning, like, who's hit the most home runs?
Yeah, it's Barry Bonds.
And Barry Bonds, or like they are still on the record books of holding these records.
Yeah, I think. Right? Don't they have an asterisk next to their name?
I don't know, but I do remember that being a weird thing for that specific sport. I was like, okay, we're not going to invite them into the Hall of Fame, but we're going to keep their records there. Because I think it was when Aaron Judge broke the record, or did he break the Yankees record, or what did he break?
Yeah, the Yankees record. Mm-hmm.
Most home runs in a season.
Yeah, last
But
season.
I was like, why are we regarding the person above him if he cheated? Like, if you're going to call him a cheater and not let him in the Hall of Fame, like...
Well, but this would eliminate all that, right? So everybody in there is doping.
Yeah, I know, but it's like you're asking for a new baseball league.
So would you be interested in watching something like that, though? The Enhanced Olympics, where everybody's just completely juiced out of their minds?
Well, see, I think certain people won't juice because it doesn't benefit them.
Well, but then they would just compete in the regular Olympics.
No, I'm saying
right?
in baseball because there's different reasons people are
Oh,
different
yeah, sure.
sizes and everything.
Sure.
So it's like, I don't really know the science of steroids because when someone thinks of steroids, they think of like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet there were some steroids systems that make last longer or whatever. So it's like you might not look jacked, but
Enhanced is what they're calling
like
it. It's not just steroid use now; it's called enhanced.
So like that guy with the bouncy legs.
Oh yeah, the guy ended up killing his girlfriend.
Yeah, but I think they proved
What's
that
his
like
name?
it actually,
The Blade Runner.
Yeah, but didn't they prove that it actually helped him run faster?
There was some conjecture about that. Yeah. Yeah, what the heck was that guy's name? I can't remember.
I think his last name started with a P. I feel like.
Dang it. Why can't I remember? Anyways, I just think it's hilarious, though, that there's actually somebody who said, yeah, well, we just have a jacked up Olympics. I think it might be difficult to get some athletes on board, though, with doing this because, they want to be seen as being respected in their whatever sport, weightlifting, running, swimming,
Yes.
whatever it is. And so I just wonder how well they'll be received when saying, well, yeah, you might be doing
Well,
a
I'm saying, it's
8-second 100-meter, but you're also jacked out of your mind.
I think it depends on the sport too, because I think if you did like combat sports,
that's in here. It's listed as one of them, combat sports.
People will watch that.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Well, they're all jacked right now, anyways. Most of those guys are.
Well, I also think there's certain pride in being clean, so some guys take that serious.
Yeah.
So especially in the high competitive world, it's like you're not supposed to cheat, so I'm not going to. There's honor in this, but then of course there's other guys who like do cheat and they try to figure out how to cheat. But if you did this,
wouldn't be cheating in this particular case, though, right? Because if everybody's on it, sort of levels the playing
but
field.
Like, for example, they have a golf season of this. I don't really want to watch steroid people playing golf.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I'd be.
That fun.
I don't know that I'd be that interested in it either. For whatever reason, I mean, I think I'd like to see it once, and after that, it's kind of like a freak show, and then I think I'd be out on it.
But I think if it was a combat sport, it'd be really popular because we're already watching these dudes.
And again,
hit each other in the
I think we're
face.
already seeing it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Andrew. I just don't judge people like that.
Oh, man. All right, one story before the break. Did you hear about this crazy story that doctors miraculously reattached a boy's head after a car incident in a breakthrough surgery? Oh, my God. So this young child apparently was decapitated.
Fully.
Well, not fully. So his head was still attached through skin and tendons, but the bone had completely severed.
Oh, wow.
So he's
So
just kind of sitting there like this.
Okay, so can you walk?
I mean, I don't know. I think they probably had to.
So it's a fake story.
Really? No, it's not fake. It's not fake.
I was
This is
kidding.
on. I don't even know what's. It's on MSN Health.
Oh, it's
but,
on. Oh, it's weird. That,
Yeah, so apparently
NotReal.com.
NotReal.com is reporting that the rare injury occurs when the ligaments and muscles holding the head and neck together tear following a sudden impact. And it accounts for less than 1% of all spinal injuries. But apparently, this type of surgery had never really been done with this level of success, and they were able to reattach the boy's head.
Oh, I mean,
Good God.
that kind of stuff is fun, mainly because somebody in that world goes, "How do we reattach heads?"
Yeah, well, he's a 12-year-old boy,
Someone's been working
and he
on
was
it.
riding a bike, and he got hit by a car. And if someone hadn't been thinking about it, how do we reattach decapitated heads? This kid would be walking around like this for the rest of his life, probably.
Yeah,
Just kind of hanging there. Ugh, crazy. Anyways,
fair enough.
yeah, that's a happy story. All right, we're going to take a break, guys. When we come back, I don't know, crazy stuff.
Yeah, you're listening to Audience of One, Lone Star Community Radio. Don't forget, we'll be right back after this break. And we're on YouTube and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, so you can watch us there or continue listening on the podcast. Okay, bye.
Not
Be right
bye.
back.
Be right back.
Be right back. Hey, listener. Really appreciate you checking out today's episode. Just want to remind you guys, we are on all sorts of cool things you can subscribe to. We got YouTube. We got podcasts on Spotify and Apple. We also have our Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Audience of One Show with Andrew and Dick. We'd really like you guys to like, subscribe, all that cool stuff. That way we can keep on making content and seeing if people are actually listening. Because a lot of times we are talking to ourselves with an audience of one.
Yeah, is that internet? Is that stuff you were referring to? Is that on the internet?
It's the www
Okay.
dot.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah, it's a cool place. We want you guys to like, subscribe, and send us messages. We always love reading messages on Facebook. We got our Gmail. It's audienceofoneshow at gmail.com. And then
No
I
doubt.
think that's the only way I really pay attention. So don't find me on LinkedIn or something. I don't.
Yeah, you're not on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So we're not on LinkedIn. We're
No.
not on LinkedIn, guys.
No. All right, everybody, we are back. Glad you guys are returning. We love to have you. If you like the show, make sure you like and subscribe and share, please.
I would much prefer you actually contact us.
Or contact us.
Set up the AI. Send them some hate. Send us some hate mail.
Right.
Audience of One Show at gmail.com. Also, we're on Facebook and YouTube. You can send messages or comment on the videos and let us know
Yeah.
what your thoughts on stuff are.
So we did get some listener feedback here recently from a man named Patrick in the Conroe area. And he sent this video of something. He said, yes, this is actually real. Now, I had never heard of this. In the break, we were talking about this, Dick. You said you had seen this because this event recently took place, and maybe that's where Patrick heard this or saw this. And I'm talking about dressage. And dressage, if you don't know what that is actually when people ride horses, real horses.
Yeah, they're watching it right now if you're on YouTube or Facebook.
Okay. It's an actual real competition where you ride a real horse, and it's designed to show the skills of the horse and the rider, and the horses do different dances and
You're talking
prances.
about real horses.
Real horses.
We're looking at fake horses
Well,
right
what
now.
this is, and I didn't know this, there is an entire competition that is designed around hobby horses. And it does seem to be mostly young girls that are involved in this, although I'm sure there's some boys that do this too. But this is where children, I'm assuming this is all children, ride around on the horses with the sticks, put them between their legs like you would do when you were 3 and pretend you were on a horse.
Yeah.
They do this for competition. And I guess it's just basically dance, right? There are some others. I don't think it's on this video. This is the same girl. This video is just the same girl over. It goes on and on
So
and on.
this is
and
all
on.
one.
One dance. He goes on for like 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's impressive. I have seen some other videos. It's not in this
wow.
clip where they're going over like jumps and they're having races, just like a real horse competition.
The one I saw was like, yeah, they had an assortment. And they even had like the hobby show where like you can buy a horse, and you can buy accessories for the horse and all that kind of stuff. So clearly there's a lot of people there.
Yeah, there's a big market for this. I mean, look at there's hundreds of people watching this, and some of the videos I saw, they're like in stadiums watching these little girls jump over hurdles and racing with horses in between their legs or fake horses. It's hilarious. Had never heard of this. This just goes to show you there's something for everyone.
Well,
thank you, Pat.
That's one thing I love about the wonders. And I don't know this personally, but everyone always talks about the wonders of raising children.
Mm-hmm.
And
you don't realize all the crap you're going to have to deal with.
Well, not even that, but can you imagine one of your children coming up to you and be like, "I'm into something, Dad."
Yeah, and you're like,
"What
all right,
are you
what is
into?
it? Football, basketball. What is it, son? I want to put a fake horse in between my legs and prance around in competitions."
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't want to be one of those parents that doesn't support their kids.
Right. I mean, what do you do at that point?
Well,
you got to support them,
or
right?
you just hit them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
After you hit them, then you tell them.
Because you know all about
I support
parenting.
you fully.
Because you've raised a couple kids.
Yes.
And like you were forced to, unfortunately.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm just
forced
kidding.
to.
I'm just giving you a hard time. But no, that's the
that
kind
is
of stuff.
patently not true.
Well, no, that's the kind of stuff that I would see as like, oh, is this the wonderful part you're talking about? Like the wonders of raising children?
Yeah. I
I
think that's something that parents tell themselves because they realize this was a horrible, horrible mistake. What did I do? I have to tell everybody it's wonderful so they can join me in my misery. No, I'm just kidding.
I imagine there's always that point when raising kids is like, all right, we got to stop supporting this kind of behavior. Like kind of like, what do you really do if if your children believe in Santa Claus when they're 19?
They still do because I tell them to. Because the second they stop believing is the second Santa Claus stops visiting the house. So they believe.
Wouldn't you want him to stop visiting the house?
Nah. It's the gifts.
Wait, hold on. Are you being serious right now?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a wink, wink, nod, nod thing at this point with my children, of course. But
okay. I thought I discovered something wonderful.
No.
Excited. I was like, oh, Here we go. Because how do you keep the secret?
No, there's no secret. Santa is alive and well. We all know that. And he visits our house
because
we all believe
it's
in
positive. I like it.
Yeah, it's a fun.
But you know what I'm talking about? Like, because there's certain things that kids encounter in their life, and like, you don't know as a parent really what they're thinking.
Yeah, no, there's worse things than riding around on a fake horse.
Like
I just thought it was interesting that they took it to the level of competition.
Oh no, that right there is. I would walk into that and be like, "What's going on here, guys?
This is a world I know nothing about."
I've been to Avant Gardens in Houston.
Yeah.
And I've been there where it's like their monthly showcase, which means there's not like a scheduled show. It's kind of like the neighborhood people can show off their art. And I've been there where I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Who's letting you do this stuff? This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
What do you mean? Like just the art is really odd?
Oh, yeah. Like, so when I don't know if you've ever been to that.
I call this one Severed Head.
Yeah, so like I went there. And because my buddies lived around there, and I was right after an Arrows game, and I was having a great time. I had my jersey on. I'm like, let's go out. What are we doing? Where are you guys?
Dick's a Jersey guy. I love it.
I had my name on.
I was just about to say, did it say Schisler
No,
on
it
the
said
back?
Dick IV. And so when I go to the games, people are like,
it
Dick
did.
IV. And I'm like, what's up? Like, I knew a lot of people. It was really weird.
Yeah, funny.
And but
that happens when you put Dick IV on your back. Yes,
I know. And then you're yelling constantly at at the players.
Sorry, continue.
But we go to Avant Gardens, and I don't know if anyone's ever been there. You can look it up. It's a neat place. It's like a bar, and they have food trucks and all that stuff. And they usually have interesting shows there. But occasionally they do. I forget what they call it. It's like, I didn't know this is what was going on, but it's like anyone can put on a show. They just have to reserve, and they give you like an area of the house of the bar or like the place. So we walk in, and the first thing I see is a woman who's just wearing like a bikini top and not a lot of bottoms, and she's on top of a mattress dumping ice on herself with flashing lights around her, and she starts stabbing the mattress. And I was like, huh. And then I go upstairs.
And then she looked over and went, Dick IV!
No, and then I go upstairs. And there's
what's up? Glad you could make it.
I go upstairs, and then there's a man there's two men with kind of like that. You put water in a glass, and it's like.
Oh, right, you're right, yeah.
So that's going on, and then another person, and they all have blindfolds on.
But these aren't necessarily children. We were talking about children a minute ago. These are adults now. We've moved from children to adults.
They all have blindfolds on, and there's a third person with like banging like a wooden block. And there's the fourth person who has the mic under his blindfold going, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. And my favorite part of the whole thing is as we're walking around, I see this guy with like CSI gloves on, CSI like tweezers, picking up stuff. And I was like, and he's putting it in little baggies and like sweeping it in, like little things like, oh, a cigarette butt or like a receipt or a penny. And
he must have been the one working at the White House.
Well, and I go outside and there's a clothesline with paper clips or like clothesline clips
with
of
the baggies. Oh my God.
And I was like, is this guy collecting people like what people are dropping?
And it becomes his art.
It becomes his art.
Wow. So it's on demand or
like
made
flower,
on the
like
spot.
Petals,
on the spot art from people's droppings throughout the event.
Of course, I was like, I'm going to have to take some of this. And so I apologized to the guy, but I said I was going to keep it. And he said that was cool.
Well, I would hope so because it's trash. So.
Well, no, some of it was pretty cool. Like it was like one was like a napkin with like instructions on it.
Sounds amazing.
I guess somebody left it at the bar, and so he wanted to put it in the bag.
I mean, unless they were telling you how to construct the Death Star.
I like it. I was like, oh, this is kind of a unique memory. And but
yeah. Was anybody dancing around on little
people are
fake
supporting
hobby
that?
horses?
Oh, that place was so. That's a show.
Sounds awesome.
But
actually.
I bet you they're all on horses at one point with sticks and prancing around.
Yeah, they migrate from that to hanging trash baggies up on a line. Well, yes, parenting is very hard, but I don't know that these particular parents in Florida did the right thing here. You be the judge. So,
another parent? This isn't you?
This is not me. But
sure.
2 Florida cops, a lieutenant and a detective sergeant, allegedly handcuffed and jailed their 3-year-old son to discipline him. What do you think would justify handcuffing a 3-year-old child? Probably nothing, right?
I think it'd be more restraining. I don't think
maybe
of handcuffing them. It's more like, oh, they're scratching their eyes or they have chicken pox.
There you go. Yeah, even then, probably not the best thing to do.
them.
Yeah, that sounds like probably not the right choice. Well, they did this because they were having difficulties potty training him. So apparently he was pooping his pants at 3 years old. Now the thing is, probably at 3 years old, you probably shouldn't be messing yourself. Right. The kid should probably already be potty trained. So I can understand a certain level of frustration with the parents. But apparently these parents, who are police officers, handcuffed their child and took him into the station as if he was really being arrested to teach him a lesson. Oh my God, that poor child. Can you imagine the issues he's going to have later on in life because of the trauma they have caused him? Oh my God, that poor child.
Have you ever seen that show, Scared Straight?
Yeah, that's kind of what this is.
So what is the youngest person on that show? Because I feel like there's probably 10-year-olds.
To me, I thought it was more like junior high school. Because when I was in junior high,
3 is way too young. I'm trying to. I remember how ridiculous that show was, but I didn't remember the youngest person because they were all ages. So there might have been like an 8-year-old on that show.
Maybe. I remember in junior high they would have periodically people from the prisons come and visit us. Did you ever have that?
Maybe.
They would come in their jumpsuits and they would stand out in front of the auditorium. This was probably part of their
Scared Straight.
It was kind of like a version of Scared Straight, but it was probably part of their program to get early release or whatever.
Grab my pocket.
And they would basically just get up there and say, yeah, jail sucks. Don't do crime. This is terrible. I wish I never would have done this. It was weird. Yeah, basically to scare all of us middle school kids straight. And most of it was probably like selling drugs or something like that. But yeah, we were all junior high school. But yeah, can you believe, of course, this footage shows the little boy crying inside of the police station. And how terrible is this? I think the parents are actually facing some
well, they're police officers themselves, so they kind of abused their...
Absolutely, they did. I mean, when I handcuffed my kids, I never took them to the station because I'm not a cop.
Yeah, I was doing it to teach them how to hold their breath.
What?
No, I don't have kids. It's a joke.
Oh man, terrible.
How do you discipline? You want to talk about this with
no,
our audience?
we're not talking
how do you
about
discipline?
We're not talking about disciplining kids.
Did you get the belt too?
Anyways, moving on. Last week we talked about themed restaurants. You know, and I thought that was kind of funny. I think it was last week. Kind of funny how we talked about
Casa Bonita and
Casa Bonita. Oh yes, that was from Matt Parker and Trey Stone.
Yeah, so that's a themed restaurant, right? Like Chuck E. Cheese's, is that themed?
I guess that's a theme restaurant. Yeah. Anyways, we talked about theme restaurants a little bit, and and that conversation led into robots serving food. Well, I saw another article probably at that same time, and I saved it for this week, of a themed restaurant. Let me Tell me, Dick, would you eat at this restaurant?
No. I just saw it.
Yeah,
I just thought, no.
probably not. Well, the owner of a restaurant named Adolf Hitler said Thursday he will change his name because, quote, it angered so many people. This is an Indian man, Puneet. I can't say his last name. Puneet. I won't try to say his last name again. Said he would remove Hitler's name and the Nazi swastika from billboards and the menu. He said that the restaurant's name, Hitler's Cross, and symbols were only meant to attract attention. Well, guess what, buddy? Success. You attracted a lot of attention.
Yeah, you got to be kind of a special kind
What
of person.
the hell was this guy thinking? So apparently he met up with some groups of Jewish people within the community, and he said, I decided to change it after they told me how upset they were by the name. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings with my business. Good God.
That's one of those things that you might be named after somebody, and you're kind of like, hey, we might need to get our names changed.
Hitler's Cross opened 5 days ago and serves pizza, salad, and pastries in Mumbai. Good God. I'm wondering if perhaps because he is Indian, maybe he didn't fully understand the historical reference there. I don't know.
Well, his name was his name, though, wasn't it?
No. That was the name of his restaurant. It was
Okay.
basically, it was named after Adolf Hitler. Maybe I've just said Adolf Hitler.
Oh, I thought his name was that.
No, his name is Puneet Sablok.
Ah, okay.
Sablok.
Well, then, yeah. I mean, he gets everything that comes. You know,
What a moron.
either success or just complete failure, but it's probably going to be a complete failure.
Well, Dick, since you run the board over there, I am going to let you decide on whether or not you want to show this next picture or not. Just a word or a warning to the listeners and the viewers here. This next story, it's not necessarily gruesome, but it may not be the easiest thing to look at. But it's an interesting, fascinating story. So this is from Insider.com. A firefighter had burned his hand badly while fighting a fire, which tends to happen, right? He had it sewn into his abdomen to help it heal.
So, like, his hand was...
Inside, and if you scroll down, you could see the picture again. I don't know if you necessarily need to show it, but Anthony Seward, a 27-year-old firefighter from the UK, was injured while cleaning machinery at the end of his shift on a second job at the textiles company in 2017. Seward, who was 20 at the time, was airlifted to a hospital where he had the tips of some of his fingers amputated. Right. But surgeons managed to save most of his hand by sewing it into his stomach for 24 days.
I'm not going to show that.
Yeah, it's a bit much. I mean, it's not gruesome necessarily, but it is a hand inside of a stomach. But when I read that, I thought, unreal. But I guess the idea there is that if your hand is inside of your body, there's certain healing properties that will allow it to heal faster or better than being exposed to the air or something like that. I don't know. The surgery is called a pediculed abdominal flap, and it was used on soldiers in World War II and in those returning from Afghanistan. And it's a very rare procedure nowadays, but it was fairly common back in the day. Weird, man. I had never heard of that before. I mean,
Well, okay, let me ask you this. Let's take it a step further. Say if he was conscious during this whole thing, which it sounded like he kind of was, and you're sitting there in pain, like crazy pain, and the doctor's like, hey, we need to do this. And you're like, what do you need to do? We need to take your hand, open up your stomach, and put your hand in there.
I would look at him and say, yeah, no. I need a second opinion.
I'm like, what?
I need a second opinion.
Or imagine waking up.
He said that,
and you're like, your hand's in your stomach. You're like, what the
hell? Yeah, I wonder if they probably consulted with him beforehand before they did this, right?
Curious.
They would have had to have.
Well, I'm saying, if someone's presenting this information to you, your first thought, like, you're what? And then you're like, oh, yeah, that's right, you're a doctor. So I probably have to listen to you.
Yeah, I would think so. He said that he wasn't necessarily in pain, but the experience was quite surreal. We
now
talked.
my mind's going all over the place now.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable with this conversation where my mind's going.
Okay. I'll abruptly change subjects then.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to find it. I thought I brought this story up. So I know that we had this conversation a few weeks ago about swapping faces.
Okay.
And you said,
Like for the movie Face Off?
yeah, similar to that.
Okay.
And I asked you who you would swap faces with, and you said that you wouldn't swap faces with anybody because you'd swap faces with yourself because you were so beautiful or something. To
Probably.
that effect.
I mean, that sounds like an answer I would give.
You don't remember this? I love this. Every episode's like a brand new day for you.
I might have. I don't know, man. There's a lot of things going on in my life. Have I told you what happened?
So it got me thinking about, though, because there was a story about there was a ransomware. A group of hackers are threatening to release information from a Beverly Hills cosmetic surgery.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You know that happened locally here, right?
Ooh, no, it didn't.
Yeah, at St. Luke's. They got themselves hacked, and then
No.
basically they had to do paper.
I bet.
For quite a bit.
So what was released though?
I don't think that. I think they got what do you call it? Like ransomware.
Yeah, but I mean,
So, I
like,
don't
what
think
were they
I-
releasing though?
I don't know. I just know like they had to shut down their entire system and paperwork had to be issued because I had some friends text me about it, and I was like, "That's crazy." He's like, "You need to find out." I go, "Well, I'm not really like an investigative journalist. I don't."
Yeah.
They probably don't want to talk about that either.
Yeah, I bet not. Well, no, this is interesting because it's famous people and they have lots of work, and some of them have work that you don't really know about.
Yeah,
but they're
I believe
threatening
that.
to release.
I really do believe that.
They're threatening to release pictures, and that would have, I imagine, a
You know
lot
what?
of celebrities kind of
Let me
on
ask you
edge
this.
there.
This is a
of course,
side-
now they're not acting, so I don't have to worry about it.
But yeah, the side question about this kind of stuff. It's like there is some inner beauty views that everyone holds on themselves, right? And then some people, especially with like surgeries, like people are like, "Oh, I don't like my nose," and I can easily just get a nose job.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the before step of that, and this is what blows my mind, is like the filters on these apps, and then they publicly post the stuff to the world to see. It weirds me out. And does it weird you out? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Like, those, like, especially like with girls and guys, it's like, oh, I want to look toner. Mm-hmm. So there's an app to make you a little bit toner, but there's a level of it where you get to that
Yeah,
point.
you start to look kind of
And
freakish.
you're like,
doesn't
that
look
doesn't
right.
look right.
Yeah.
And then some of them are like completely obvious.
Well, then there's some of them that make you look like a cat.
Well, yeah, and that's obvious. But then there's other beauty ones. You're like,
Yeah.
I can't even see your blemishes at
Yeah,
all. Like,
yeah. You start to look like a cartoon almost.
Yeah, and it's
Like some
weird.
sort of anime. Yeah, it is
But
weird.
then you have the surgery people who are like, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
And those are my favorite.
Oh, they try to look like someone else?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, you're going for it.
Yeah, they really are.
And
What if you could have plastic surgery? What would you change? I know you said your face is perfect and all.
no, actually,
But-
my face is not. I have a deviated septum. And they
Okay.
consider, when I went to the doctor, because I have sleep apnea and all that kind of stuff. I don't know about today. I can probably do it today. But when I was really having an issue with it, I just started doing cocaine and it solved
It
itself.
solved itself. Crazy, right?
No, I'm just kidding.
Burn
But-
right through that baby.
But yeah, I'll never forget. I was like, I snore. I have horrible sleep.
But that's not cosmetic
And
surgery.
no, they told me it was cosmetic surgery to get rid of my deviated septum.
No, I'm talking about if you
So
could
that's
change
that's
something.
my answer.
If you
That's
could
my
change
answer.
something on your appearance
'Cause I can-
cosmetically, what would you change? Because, like, for me, I'll answer first. So for me,
I would get my beard filled in.
oh, that's actually a procedure. I guess that's
So I
considered
can see that-
cosmetic.
that counts,
yeah.
right? And
yeah,
I'm-
they go and they pop, 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 and they put in
Yeah.
hair follicles.
Whatever.
Follicles.
I
Yeah.
do that. I do all the hair on my face.
There you go. Okay. It's kind of a cop out, but that's fine. I thought you would have said your nose or something. Or I
I
want to
did.
raise my eyebrow.
I did just
That's-
say it.
No, that's
But
inside
you
your
won't-
nose.
Yeah,
I'm not
but
accepting your answer.
It's
No.
considered cosmetic surgery at the time. I don't know about today, but at the time I was trying to.
I
do
guess
that.
if it doesn't change your appearance, I don't consider it cosmetic surgery. But I guess the
it does.
definition.
That's why my nose is crooked.
But would it make your nose straighter though if you
Yeah,
had the surgery?
I think so. That's why they considered it cosmetic surgery.
Okay. See, to me, I don't think there's one particular item about my face that if I fixed it, it would be like, ta-da. There's a lot of factors working together to make this not all that great, right? So I don't think there's one thing I would want to do. But I would say I would like to be taller, right? But have you seen
I don't want to talk
those
about this. I don't want to
surgeries
talk about this.
to lengthen your legs?
That's great because I remember.
Oh my gosh.
I remember seeing
it's so
it
brutal.
for small people.
Yes.
I remember seeing that, and that I don't want. Like again, I don't want to talk about this.
Well, we're going to talk about it because it's really, really crazy.
no.
The surgery, to lengthen your legs,
I don't want to talk about it.
is really, really
don't wanna talk about
brutal. And have you seen these people that are like 5'5" and they'll have these surgeries and lengthen their legs to like 3 inches or something like that, and they're now 5'8"? And I guess and I'm thinking, well, wow, you're 5'8", you're still considered short, I suppose. But if you did any more than that, you would start to look really abnormal, like with these super long legs and short torsos.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, but the procedure's so brutal. I would never even attempt to have it done. But that would be the only thing I would consider. But I'm not obviously going to do it.
But yeah, that's the only plastic
I found
surgery.
something that Dick does not want to talk about. Ugh. I know the details of how it's done.
I
but
know, me too.
I
remember the specifics of it, how long it took.
You can only do like a millimeter a day.
Yeah,
because the bone can only do so much.
Depending on,
and you're like supposed to like turn the thing yourself to lengthen your legs, and it takes months and months and months. Yeah, the concept is like
I know,
like
I
braces.
get it.
They
It's
go and
gross.
they break your bone, and they put these extenders, and it's nasty. Now, and it's extremely expensive, of course. So, man, but I guess if these people want to do that to themselves, I suppose. Man, it sounds terrible.
I mean, I know I got some other emotional issues, but I don't see myself going that far. Be like, I need to be taller.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either.
I guess I would get this. My toe, I split it. I split the toenail. So, but it's like it's a little tiny split. So, like, I have to either.
I don't want to talk about this.
Okay. Well, is that cosmetic surgery?
I don't want to talk about it. It does sound painful, though.
Well, no, it didn't hurt.
I was talking about mine's hypothetical. I'm not actually going to do it.
It didn't hurt. It's like a very small slit. It's only at the top of my toe, but every time I'm clipping my toenails, I don't clip it. Hopefully, one day it'll just keep growing. Yeah. Because it's not split down to the bottom of it. So it's clearly, I just need to
let it grow. Just don't
grow.
touch it. Yep.
But I have to let it grow like this far, and I'm like, I don't know about that. So I guess I have to wrap it or something. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
Little TMI.
Yeah. Did you hear that the one of the Charles Manson followers was released from prison this past week?
Oh, she part of the murders?
Yeah, Leslie Van Houten was released from prison after 50 some odd years.
Did she kill somebody, or was she just there?
Yeah, she was part of that group of
but
followers.
I think in the group they killed certain people kill people.
Yeah.
But other people were just like, I was the driver.
I think she helped carry out. I don't know if she was the actual the killer or she was just part of that group that helped carry out some of those Manson follower killings. She's 73 years old now. I kind of wonder. Yeah, she's probably over the Manson thing, right? Since that was so long ago. But to me, she's still the type of person that could be easily manipulated, right? I don't think that part ever really goes away. And with today's technology,
I think people can change.
Okay, so you're gonna have her stay at your house? You're gonna have Leslie Van Houten come and stay at your house?
I don't know about that. I mean, we're talking about people.
She's changed though, Dick.
Well, we talk about people in this world who befriend people in prison and they marry them.
Oh, yeah, I don't get that either.
To me, it's like. What this reminds me of is
I just think she could be easily manipulated, especially with the internet, social media.
That's stupid. This screws
I don't get it.
with my perception of time. Because
what do you mean?
Well, because when I think of the Manson deal, that was before my time.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, she just got released. I'm like, I feel like that was so long ago. She just got released? Like, how old is she? Oh, she's only 75. I'm like, man,
she was a child, though, man, when this happened.
I mean, I know, but my perception of time would be like, I would think her to be like 90. And the reason she was released is medically.
Yeah.
Not because, I'm a 75-year-old grandma now. And she's probably not even a grandmother, but.
Yeah, because she got put into the prison so early. Yeah, she probably had no children or anything like that. But she was sentenced to death in 1971 for helping the Manson group carry out the killings of Lino Bianca, a grocer in Los Angeles, and his wife Rosemary. But that's the La Bianca murders that you always hear about. But I'm like, wait, she was sentenced to death? Well, that didn't really work. She's still alive.
I don't know.
Yeah, pretty shocking. I mean, it was big news. We don't break news here. I just thought I'd get your opinion on it because to me, I'm thinking probably not a good idea to let her go. There's just too many things out there if you got manipulated in 1970, whatever, by whatever means Charles Manson was communicating at that point.
Person.
You're the one who won't have her over to your house.
Well, is she asking to come over?
She doesn't know. She might hear this episode and go, you keep giving out your information like you're single and hitting on everything that moves. Audience of one.
Show at gmail.com.
Yeah. Hey, Leslie, email me. I hear you've been single. You've probably been lonely.
Wait, I'm just trying to promote the show, dude. We can interview her.
Oh, that would be no. I don't even want to interview that woman. Put out the.
Why would you not want to interview that woman? That sounds.
Yeah, actually,
I mean, like
actually, I do.
You know what's weird? I'm not even interested in the Manson stuff. I'm more interested in, like, what was it like being in prison for that long?
Yeah.
Because you might be like, are you crazy?
Oh, she's crazy, all right. That's why she ended up in prison.
Well, yeah. Well, she's also like. You told me she. How old?
73.
No, when she committed the murders.
19, I think.
Yeah, 19 is. What were you doing at 19?
Not killing people.
True.
Okay, I wanted to save this story for the very, very end because it is a little bit of a delicate story. Maybe we're after the 55-minute mark, or maybe we're right at it. I don't know.
Huh?
Yeah, we good?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't. You're running the board.
Oh, I'm supposed to hit record.
Right. So this is really, really funny and weird.
Okay.
Again, probably not. We're gonna be delicate with it. Let's put it that way. So a man from Iceland apparently has devoted his life to the male member.
Oh, by the way, this is from Smithsonian Magazine.
This is a
legit.
Oh, right. So this one's legit. But when I bring something from Business Insider, it's not legit.
I just watched a little snippet about the Smithsonian and how much.
Yes, this is
money they waste.
legit. So he has devoted his entire life to the male member. Right?
Can I put this in real quick?
Okay. Whoa, what are you talking about?
So I was watching this thing.
You talking about your tusk again?
No, I'm talking about the Smithsonian in the United States.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
They were doing this really interesting piece about it, and then they pull out this number. Was like, oh, when you go to the Smithsonian in D.C., you only see about 1% of what they actually have. And
What?
I'm thinking to myself,
What's the point of that? Oh, that's a marketing thing.
Well, no, it's a real.
That, sir, is fake news.
No. So apparently, the Smithsonian does all this research and stuff like that. But I was like, you don't want to tell people that because they don't want to show you 99% of all this money we're paying to preserve all this stuff. Like,
Right.
why would you tell people this? And it just made me laugh, and this makes me laugh even more because thinking about a museum devoted to.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Devoted to what are we devoted to at this museum? Because
he devoted his life, and he decided to create a museum, the only museum in the world devoted to penises.
They're the male, like mammals.
Mammals. So an
mammal.
Iceland man has collected and preserved 283 members from 93 different species of animals, including Homo sapiens. Yes. So as the story goes,
That's not hard to get.
Yeah. Well, he's got one, I guess, himself. But in 1974, at the age of 33, and he's a history teacher, an Icelandic history teacher. His name is Sigurov Wartsson. He was given a penis as a gift. It was a bull's one, dried.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that joke about, especially like a whale. Like I know you can buy those.
This was basically dried, and they used them at that time or historically as whips, right? So in the Icelandic countryside, they would whip farm animals, and they gave it to him as a joke at a party. And then soon other teachers began bringing him more of these, and it became like a running joke. And so it was like he was the guy with all of the bull member whips, right? And the joke caught on, and it was ha ha. And then he got to thinking about it. You know, I'm thinking it might be a good idea if I could see how many of these suckers I can collect. And his goal was to collect a penis from every mammal species in Iceland. And it took him a long time, and he acquired 283 of them. And in Iceland.
Wow.
And has decided to open the only Icelandic phallological museum where they're all on display. So you can go see phalluses from all sorts of different mammals throughout Iceland.
This is something I can see myself walking into.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
And not even that, but like accidentally doing it. Because when you're traveling, you have no idea where you are. Like,
right.
And you're just kind of like wandering. You're like, oh.
And the missus goes, hey, let's go in there.
Like I remember I went on a trip, and the wildest thing I've seen in a long time was we went to this place, and it's like, $10, hang out with cats and get unlimited wine. And I was like, wait a second, what? It was like on a big chalkboard.
I don't really like cats, but I love wine.
But I was like, that's a strange thing. And so I go, I'll participate.
Yeah, I think you said. I think you've told me that one.
Yeah, and we paid $10, and they had all these different wines from around the world. And
was it done by like the SPCA?
Yeah, local.
Okay, they want you to come in and pet the cat and maybe take one. They liquor you up so that you're more.
Oh
likely
no, it was
to
hilarious.
Take a cat.
I'm just saying, it was just one of those.
I'll
things.
take 4 of them.
I was just walking around going like,
but that's probably not a good idea to do, to get people liquored up and then send them home with an animal. And they
I
sober up and go,
one,
"What the heck did I do?"
You know what's funny? I did legit look up how to ship an animal.
Out of what, an animal?
Ship it.
Okay.
Because I can't do it as a carry-on.
Right. True.
So
That's right. You were on vacation.
But again, if I saw it in the pamphlet, hey, check out our phallic museum, I'd be like, okay, that sounds kind of wild. And I'd go.
Yeah, I bet you would enjoy this. It says the walls are decorated with dried whale members.
Hashtag I've seen bigger.
Mounted on plaques like hunting trophies, along with tongue-in-cheek themed art with a silver sculpture medal winning Icelandic.
What's it called?
I told you. It's the Icelandic Phallological Museum. What, are you booking tickets now?
I want to see how much it is.
And
What's wrong with that?
Apparently, they've got the mammal members in all various states.
Can you imagine
some of them excited, some of them not.
Sapien?
They've got them in there.
I know. Can you imagine being one of those guys? Though, like you have your face, it's like, oh, this is John.
Yeah. Apparently, they have 2 men who have already volunteered to have theirs donated once they pass, but apparently they're very young, so we're gonna have to wait a while to be able to see those. Sorry, Dick.
I'm looking up this website. I gotta find it. Oh, here it is. I got it. Oh,
but did you know
you're gonna love
that
you're gonna love this website.
The member of a whale.
It's phallus.is.
Okay, careful where you're leading our listeners.
No, it's a real deal. Here, I'm pulling it up for our watchers. Here.
Is this the actual
This
website
is the actual
for the
website?
All right.
And this is legit. This isn't something.
No, this is a legit thing. Yes,
Yeah,
this is an
look
actual
at it.
museum.
Oh,
You can go
this-
see.
This is weird.
Did you know that a whale's
Look what they do in
member
Iceland.
is 16 feet long and can weigh upwards of 700 pounds?
Look what they're doing in Iceland on their websites. You don't go up or down. You go left to right.
Oh wow, man, it's much more efficient.
Maybe
that
it's
way.
a theme in there.
In the Phallological
Yeah.
Museum.
But yeah, this is a real deal. Oh, there's a gift shop. Of course, there's a.
Of
gift
course. What all can you get at the
oh
gift
my
shop? I
gosh.
wonder. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I didn't know if you were gonna show that or not, but apparently you are. And that's all I've got for today's
You
show,
can't really
folks.
see it. Oh my.
No,
God.
and they're all preserved and,
this
they're
guy's-
ancient and
you know, this guy's a teacher.
right. Yeah, it's
So
not.
It's not like
yeah,
a
it's not- no.
perverted kind of thing.
No, any guy who collects penises is not perverted. Of course not.
looks
He's a
legit.
teacher.
Oh,
Completely legit. Not weird at all.
I'm sorry. I mean, I think it's interesting.
You know, in 1997, he only had 62 penises.
Well, I mean,
He was very busy in the
Takes
last 25
time.
years. It takes time, man. Takes time.
well, now he can just email and be like, "You got any?" Back in the day, you had to send letters, and like, imagine getting those letters. This guy's a joke. He's asking for something preposterous. But now he can just send an email like, "Hey, I'm a legit dude. Here's my link to my museum," and then
Yeah,
people are gonna be like, "Oh, I like this guy. He's actually legit. He's into this stuff."
Anybody can have a website. I mean, we have one.
Yeah, but this one looks a lot better than ours.
It is pretty good. All right, man. That's all we have got for this week. Dick, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to
Yeah,
talk
man.
about the Phallological Museum. I
Yeah.
can't wait to hear your stories from when you visit it.
You got a busy weekend?
I don't even know. I think actually this weekend not. I think we're going to chill out. I'll probably do some yard work.
All right. Well, guys, take care of yourself. It's getting hot out there, so make sure to stay hydrated. And, this has been Audience of One. Look us up at audienceof1 at gmail.com, audience1show@gmail.com. We're on podcasts. We're on YouTube, all that stuff. Lone Star Community Radio is the nonprofit that hosts this show. So if you feel like sponsoring or donating, visit irlonestar.com. That's irlonestar.com. And good luck out there, guys.
Deuces, onesies. Audience of One, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. right here on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5. Listen to the brain droppings of local hosts, me, Andrew Belshner, along with the jewel of Montgomery County radio, Dick Schisler. Topical musings, news stories, oddities, or just weird conversations that we normally have with ourselves, all mixed together with the occasional guest. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.